Gamification is something that's had a lot of publicity over the last 2 to 3 years. The principles behind gamification have been around since the days of green shield stamps and air miles, but before we look at real-world situations, let's first define the term. Gamification is the use of gameplay mechanics within non-game situations, used to increase things like engagement and activity. The mechanics of gamification we see drawn from actual online games such as Farmville, in this case a game where gameplay and its rewards are applied to the context of farming an area of land. Now, Farmville isn't gamification by our definition because it's an actual game, but it demonstrates the same mechanics. In fact, the tools used in these games were set up for one purpose, which was engagement. You can probably relate to this as the Candy Crush obsession. If you want to see engagement, then the stats on this type of game are actually quite impressive. At its peak in 2012, Farmville had 40 million active users, and 28 million people were harvesting their crops in Farmville every single day. To put that into context, at that time, that was more than the number of people using Twitter. As a tool, gamification has been successfully applied to many other applications and online services to improve user retention and engagement. Nike, through Nike Plus, turned the simplest of sports in the world, running, into a data-driven social sport that rewards runners for running. Nike's VP of Digital Sport, Stefan Olander, said of Nike Plus that it thrives on the fact that people want credit for their athletic activity. Nike Plus also gives users access to a whole load of data about their personal achievements. Runners can then use this data to become better at running. As such, the Nike Plus platform gives runners answers to questions like, how fast am I running, and am I progressing? When do I lose momentum when I'm running? How many calories do I burn whilst running? And how are my friends performing, and what does it take to beat them? Nike Plus has created an engaging, gamified platform where runners can interact with each other, share their data, and learn from the insights derived from it. Since its launch in 2006, the platform has built a user base of 11 million runners. That is a whole lot of data, which has the main benefit of providing Nike with some tremendous insights into its target customers. Incidentally, they also control over 60% of the running shoe market in the US. It's also a great example of how gamification is tied to big data. The Khan Academy is a great example of how to gamify e-learning. It's a free site and has also received backing from Google and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Sal Khan, its founder, started it by giving video lessons to his nephews in maths. There is now a huge collection online of self-paced exercises, lessons and videos. The subject matter ranges from academic subjects like arithmetic, physics and chemistry, but also covers complex current events like the credit crisis. What makes this such a great tool is the way it's used game mechanics to make subjects that people would normally shy away from fun and addictive. In real games, rewards are a crucial aspect of gameplay and can take the form of in-game assets such as a special purple cow in Farmville or a new weapon within a combat game, your BFG. In gamification, rewards are typically a badge or points on a leaderboard or a progress bar. These game mechanics are used as a means of both rewarding and encouraging participation. The more you participate, the more virtual rewards you get. So, crucially, they can also offer the player the ability to continue participating in the game at an enhanced level. For example, a reward may provide them with extra game levels, enhanced firepower, or new and more prestigious livestock. As such, game mechanics can function simultaneously to reward previous participation and to actively facilitate future and ongoing participation and engagement with the game and its contents. Gamification as a concept isn't new, and especially if you consider things like green shield stamps, airline and hotel loyalty programs and other things like that. However, in recent years, gamification has become more of a science and a focal point for businesses looking to deal with the problem of motivation. Businesses either want to build loyalty, keep employees engaged in their work, or just increase participation in a website. Making a game of something which really isn't has really concrete evidence of increasing engagement. In 2010, the Swedish National Society for Road Safety, in partnership with Volkswagen, tried to improve the safety of a particular stretch of road in Stockholm. They put a speed camera on that stretch of road to photograph all drivers. Speeding drivers received a fine aligned to their income, and a percentage of the citation value was put into a cash fund. Drivers who drove under the speed limit were entered into a lottery to win all the money. In less than 3 days, they had a 22% reduction in the average speed. So having a chance of winning the lottery was actually seen as more valuable to drivers than getting there faster. But it's not enough to add some badges, points and leaderboards to activities. Gabe Zischerman, a leader in gamification research, says gamification is 75% psychology and 25% technology. According to the Gartner Group, they predict that more than 70% of Global 2000 organizations will have at least one gamified application by 2015. They also predict that 80% of gamification initiatives will fail in 2015, simply due to poor design. To succeed in gamification, we need to understand some key factors. Firstly, we need to identify a core business problem and really understand it. If there's a mature reporting system which can identify real business issues and understand what people are doing or not doing that contributes to it, then we can get a clear view of the problem. This is one of the reasons big data is becoming so popular, because it's giving us such rich detail on people's actions instead of basing decisions on anecdotal evidence. Next, we need to really understand our target audience. The gamification mechanics we use need to benefit from them. Rewards need to be linked to what your audience cares about. One of the early researchers, Amy Brookman, in 1999, wrote a famous paper on gamification called "Can Educational Be Fun?" She mentions the concept of chocolate-covered broccoli, coding something your children are never going to voluntarily eat in a thin layer of incentive will never work. After all, it's still broccoli. The successful initiatives are usually far-reaching, starting small, testing, and then growing organically from there. LinkedIn had a problem back in 2009. Their data indicated that people weren't filling out their profiles. They found a really simple approach to solve the problem. They spent a couple of hours and paid a programmer to come up with a completion bar that lets you know every time that you log in how far along you are to having completed your profile. Through doing this, they saw a 50% increase in profile completeness, and this is just from a visual feedback indicator that tracks progress. Adding in social and competitive elements, for example a leaderboard, and including the concept of flow into the experience to make it easier to stay in the game, all of these things help. However, the prevailing opinion is that we need to add an important ingredient: fun. If it's not fun, then today's learners are too experienced in game mechanics and will see through all of your chocolate-covered broccoli approach.